Hey, you guys. So, I wanted to come on here and talk to you guys about um, how I got my coding job. So, I've been in my coding job for a year now. Um, it's been awesome. So, I started this job last year in 2019, and it took me approximately 8 months of job hunting. So I was putting in applications every single day. I think between November to the time I got hired, um, I think I put in over 200 applications. Um, it wasn't an easy process. And when they say when you come out of school, like the competition to get a coding job is really high, they truly and honestly mean it. I just happened to like luck up and get this position. When I was job hunting, I got quite a bit of recruiters calling me and asking me, was I interested in this job? And could I fill or meet the requirements for this job? But everything was requiring 2 to 3 years of experience. And I know like a lot of, that's a lot of difficulty in this field. Like you can't really get the experience if you can't get the job, but you can't get the job unless you have the experience. So it's kind of a catch 22. But I will say, like, I think it's important to at least have that first year, like, under your belt. And I know it's hard to do that. And you just basically kind of get lucky with with your first job. My first ever like introduction to coding in the real world was probably a contract company, and those are the companies you guys need to look for if you're interested in getting into coding. The contract companies, because okay, so the benefits aren't that great. The usually the health insurance plans and stuff are really expensive. Um, and for a new person coming through the door that has a coding credential but is not actually working under the title as a coder at the contract company, the pay is like, I mean, it's entry level pay. And it's okay because those companies will give you the opportunity to like step up into another role. So much more quickly than a facility would. So what I mean by that is I started at my company and I had been there for 5 months, and I was coding everything. I was coding backlog charts, outpatient charts, and I was coding everything. Like not the ED, but just outpatient. Physician charges, facility charges, whatever they were handing to me, I was coding E&M, and that's really what like got me kind of to the next level. They were rolling out a couple of different workflow processes, and I ended up getting assigned to leveling, and my productivity and my um, accuracy. So my accuracy was at 100%, and my productivity. They didn't require a lot of productivity compared to where I work now. It was only 7 charts an hour, so it didn't take me long to do. I mean, it was only 140 accounts, and I had a month to do it in addition to the other accounts that I had to work also. So I was coming back, and I'm pretty sure if I had have stayed with the company past that week, because I had worked E&M for 2 months, and they were like, okay, well, the first month I did it, they were like, oh, okay, we're gonna leave you on E&M. You're really good at this. We're gonna leave you on E&M. So they left me on E&M. The next month, I did really well, and they were like, this is where your niche is. This is where you're gonna stay. And they told me that if I wanted to, I could have moved up into a different position to an outpatient coder. And I think at the time the outpatient coders was making $18 flat or maybe 19 flat. And while it was good, and and it was nice to get the opportunity, I had got a call back and an interview from the place I'm currently at, and I mean, it was just nice, like the job that I had was really nice. The people I work with was really nice. They had pretty decent support there, and I mean, ton of flexibility. I mean, ton of flexibility, because I was part-time. I could work basically as long as I worked 5 hours throughout the day. I was fine, and I was making enough money to pay um, my my half of the bills, um, with this job and like a PRN part-time job. You know what I mean? Like whenever I wanted to do a part-time job. So I was making enough money to take care of those needs, and it was nice. But I just wanted a little more structure, a little more, because I've always worked in a hospital, and I'm a little more familiar with those type of constructs rather than um, just whenever on your own time, basically. So I decided to, take the job that I'm at, and not only that, benefits really weighed on heavy on my mind because I had just had my son, and I had two kids. I needed to make sure that I had health insurance and they had health insurance because I had a few complications after I had him. So I had to make sure I was okay, health wise, and I wasn't gonna break myself trying to pay hospital bills, doctor's bills, and not having the money. Like having to figure out, am I gonna pay my light bill or am I gonna pay this hospital bill? You know what I mean? So I went ahead and took the hospital, the facility job, which I'm so thankful for because they're an awesome team. Um, and my manager's really awesome. She's so supportive. So, how I got the job. So, the interview process. So, I got called by the recruiter, and the recruiter was new. He had only been there 2 weeks when I had spoke to him, and how I got the job. I applied to this hospital, this facility, 8 times before I got the job. I had applied to the coding positions, I think at least 4 different times before I got a call back. And okay, so how this hospital used to work, I don't know if they do the same thing, but when you put in an application, they will send you back an email saying, thank you for applying. Such and such person is your recruiter for this process. So, I mean, just simple deduction. I took the email address that the thing had came back for, and at the end it says the hospital name .org. So I just put the person's name in there, the hospital.org, and then I emailed the recruiter back and said, hey, I applied for this position. I'm extremely interested. Is it still available? These are my credentials. I've got such and such experience. And he like reached out to me right away the same day. I was like, yeah, it's still open. Let me see. Cause I applied to, I think 2 positions, and we went back and forth until I got one of them. And he scheduled an interview, talk with me. And then he's like, okay, I'm going to forward it on to the hiring manager. Then the hiring manager reached out to me, I think like the next week, and we set up an interview, and it was a Skype interview. So even though these interviews are at home, even though they're in the comfort of your home, you still need to get dressed like you're going to a regular interview, like you're going to sit in front of people and either put on a nice suit or a nice button up or a nice blouse or something. When I had the interview with her, because I didn't have the setup that I have now at my house, I used my iPhone and I Skyped her, and she could see me, I could see her. She could see that I was dressed in dress pants, and she could see that I was dressed in a blouse and all that. And she basically asked me questions. So basically, like, why do I want this position? And I told her that I've been interested in the coding field since I started my healthcare career in accounts receivable. And in accounts receivable, I worked the Medicare team, and I worked with the physicians billing. I did physicians billing, and I worked with combating bad charges. So I worked with coding, a lot of coding. And I said since that point, I've always been interested. And I started that job in 2015, excuse me. And I said I've always been interested and I've wanted to do it. It's a passion. So she asked me that, and then she asked me, why should I hire you when you don't have a lot of experience? And I told her, you're right, I don't have a lot of experience, but I said I'm intelligent enough to pick up concepts quickly enough, And I know that you won't be disappointed when you hire me. I can learn whatever you teach me. So I told her that I kind, you really have to sell yourself, especially when you're coming into the field and you don't know anything. I was lucky enough to come into a facility where they don't require a coding exam before you get started, because this facility trains from the ground up. Now, I will say the opportunities are kind of far in between. I think at least over the next 5 years, we should be looking for more people because people are getting ready to retire. So when the inpatient coders get ready to leave, because that's where our oldest group of people are right now, I think, and managers, when they get ready to leave, we'll push up into their position, and then somebody will have to come in to replace us. They do like to hire from within first, and then if nobody is there to fill those roles or they don't feel comfortable with, they'll look outside. I think good candidates that they look for is someone who's interested in furthering their career, who isn't going to be stagnant, who wants to gain the education. I think they'll be more open to hiring a new coder if they have more than one certification behind their name, if they see that they're actively pursuing more education. And I guess that they're becoming a well-rounded, or they are a well-rounded coder, or attempting to get to that, attempting to get on that road, and that you are, I don't want to say mild-mannered, but you have the passion to learn and to want to grow yourself and to want a better, I guess, to continue your education no matter, always. And I think that's something that they're really big on. One of the things that kind of stood out to me when I did my yearly evaluation with her was that she had said that there's a lot of people in our company. There's like, well, not our company, but on our team, there's like 93 people, I think now. I think we're almost full. I think we're short one more person. And she said that so far, only myself and two other people have shown interest in furthering our career in the coding department and wanting to get into these lead positions, learn inpatient, and move up into management. Not that there's anything wrong with staying where you're comfortable as far as coding, because it can be daunting, it can be confusing, and it can be strenuous to learn a new section or a new area. But if you don't learn, like, you can't better yourself. And she had said to me, like, inpatient has a lot of stability. Like, no one will get rid of an inpatient coder, but if they ever make cuts or have cutbacks in the department, the outpatient is where they look first. And that, I guess that's true, because that's where they bring in the new coders. New coders don't start directly into inpatient coding. They usually start in outpatient coding easy charts. So, just to make myself an asset to the company, I told her that I was interested in learning inpatient, which is true. I am interested in learning inpatient. So I'm waiting for that training to get started. But I think if you're going to want to get the coding job, make sure that you want to continue your education, that you keep applying to these jobs, even if they say they want 2 years experience. You never know. Sometimes they might have a point where they say, okay, well, we're not getting the type of people that we want, or they're not the type of people that we want on our team, or they're demanding too much that we can't offer them. And let's find somebody and let's train them from the ground up. And you never know, your application might be pulled that day, and then that's when you basically have to market yourself and sell yourself to these facilities. I would say, if you can, get a job at one of the contract companies to start out with, whether or not it's coding. If they have a coding department, it'll be easier to move into the coding department once you get your certification, rather than starting out a facility. And once you get a little bit underneath your belt, moving into the facility will be easy. What else? Yeah, and network. Like, if you have somebody or know somebody that's a coder, you should really network with them to, like, get the to get a job or hear about listings. I think that's my biggest like pet peeve. People ask me, oh, is your job hiring? Well, yeah, it's hiring. And I'll tell you when the post, when they're putting up a job, and what kind of people they're looking for. But I can't influence my manager to hire anyone. All I can do is say, hey, I've got a friend. She's doing such and such, and I think she'll be a good fit. Um, Here's her application. Here's her number and stuff. And then you're texting me or emailing me like a month later saying, oh, I applied, but I didn't get the job. I don't know what happened. Like, can you find out? I can't find out. Like, how can I find out? That stuff's pretty secure. And whatever they rejected you for, they're not going to tell me. You know what I mean? I'm an employee. I'm not even management. I'm not even a lead. I'm, just an everyday entry level worker. um that kind of like gets on my nerves just a little bit. Like, I can't influence anybody to hire you. All you can do is fill out the application. I can give them your information, and that's really it to my extent. I don't have much pull there, being fairly new myself. So that's kind of a pet peeve. And then, like, only putting in one application, I put in eight applications for the same department at the same hospital, and I kept applying until somebody called me back. I don't understand why you just put in one application. Keep putting them in. Shoot, the job's still open, put them in. They've changed the requisition number, put another application in. So I guess that would be my advice. Like, education, keep applying even if they reject the first application. um, and find a recruiter to reach out to if you can. I know some job postings don't give you a recruiter name, but if you can reach out to somebody in the talent acquisition, which you can if you have LinkedIn. If you have LinkedIn and you turn on the premium, you get 1 month free. Turn on the premium thing, you can reach out to the recruiters, and the recruiters can email you back. The talent acquisition group is what you need to look for. And don't get lost in the shuffle. Make your resume stand out, and hopefully they'll call you back. And I don't want to say keep bugging them, but like, do um, email call, I don't say email callbacks, but email check-ins. Like, hey, I'm still interested in this position. I see that I'm interested in this um, position. I put this application in, and I was just checking on the status. I'm really extremely interested. And I will check back in. No, I hope to hear from you. I think that's what I used to say. I hope to hear from you soon. Thank you for your time. And it's just short, sweet, just a couple lines. It doesn't have to be word for word what I said, but something like that. And because you never know. Recruiters get a lot of emails and a lot of messages and phone calls. So I would definitely make sure that my name is on the top of the stack. So I guess those are my only suggestions, and that is how I got my job, bugging the recruiters. So if you know or can help yourself, do it. Okay, y'all, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.